Hello everyone, hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over Pink Floyd's The Wall. We're almost finishing our Pink Floyd series. Now this is amazing and there is so much to this album which I will try and explain, but if I went over every single little detail that is in this album, this video would be 3 hours long. So it might be a bit oversimplified, but our story begins during the touring for their previous album, the Animals, where a fan. So Roger Waters had started to realise that the live shows were becoming really hectic, and people weren't really listening to the music anymore. They were more just fighting amongst each other and smoking. It's the 70s, smoking all kinds of stuff and getting drunk. And it all culminated in, I believe it was a fan spat on Roger Waters, and that was when he had had enough of it. And that gave him the inspiration to write about an artist called Pink, who, I mean, there's a lot to Pink's character, but one of the main things is that he's this artist that has become so disconnected from his fans. And we'll get more into that in the song section. But unfortunately, I believe it was halfway through this album, their founding member and keyboardist Richard Wright would exit the band, he'd leave, due to so many different arguments with Roger Waters. Because according to the rest of the band, at that point, Roger Waters had become really just impossible to work with. And Nick Mason, the drummer, he did all his drum stuff, all the stuff he had to record first. He got it done and out the way, so he didn't have to be there. And he wasn't there for most of the sessions for this album, after he obviously finished what he had to do. And it's kind of bad that, your band member doesn't want to be there. But anyway, after the release of this album, you then had the final cut. Now, the final cut gets its name. We'll obviously go over this in that episode, but it just briefly, it gets its name because a lot of the songs were supposed to be on this album. And in fact, some of them you can hear on the movie, which we'll get into. I've got the t-shirt on. So that but the rest of the band didn't want to release the final cut because they didn't think it was that good. But obviously it did, which is crazy because I love the final cut. One last thing, I know I'm going on a bit. In like the late 80s, Nick Mason and David Gilmour would get together and they would want to reform Pink Floyd, which obviously they did. But Roger Waters sued them and kept suing them because they couldn't use the name Pink Floyd. Obviously, he thought that was his band. But in the end, they've reached a settlement, I can't speak, where everything to do with this album, all the royalties, everything, goes to Roger Waters. So it is a Pink Floyd album. It was released as a Pink Floyd album, but nowadays this is a Roger Waters album because he owns everything. That was in the settlement. They could have Pink Floyd's name and continue the band, but Pink Floyd's The Wall is now Roger Waters' The Wall. And I believe the live show for this album is the second biggest or best-selling live show of all time, just behind U2, which I don't understand because U2 are not getting into that. So just some crazy facts, but let's get into it with the looks. The first Pink Floyd album I picked up was Dark Side of the Moon. And then it was this one, and that was like 3 years ago. So my copy is a bit tattered, it's a bit aged. Age is like fine wine. But the thing that pisses me off the most, and I regret doing it, was that Pink Floyd's The Wall was a sticker on the front there. I don't know if you can see that, but I decided to rip the sticker off for some stupid reason. So now it's just this sort of ugly dust that's collected on where the sticker was. But anyway, this is obviously iconic, this white wall, just amazing. And obviously the back is the same. And I love, or if you're into classic rock, you know what album that is, even without the writing on the front. Although the writing on the front is very iconic. And of course, all the different, we'll go over the movie in a bit, but that sort of iconic screaming face as well. And the hammers, it's just brilliant. Then the inside, I love the artwork on the inside. The giant judge, which is a butt who shits on him. Go on, judge, shit on him. Then you got the mother. I know I'm looking at this. I'll show you. You got the mother. You got the school teacher. all the different characters. Now, originally this album was going to be 3 hours long, or near that, because the songs from the final cut, as I said, were going to be on this, but the record label were like, it's way too long, you've got to cut it down. I love these sleeves, by the way, but they're a bit, I know it's cursive writing, which goes with the style, but I can't read it. Even with my new glasses, my better eyesight, I still struggle to read cursive. Sorry everyone, I was interrupted. That was just, I can't read the cursive on here. It's just too small, but the artwork is absolutely iconic. And I just wish I'd kept that sticker on the front. But anyway, let's get into the main bit, the best bit, the songs. Just quickly, we'll go over the movie a bit. So this album was released as a soundtrack to this movie, and I think it's brilliant. It's not a movie I'd watch all the time. I've only seen it a few times because it's a concept album, and I'll say it's a concept film. So it's not like the most entertaining film once you've watched it a few times, but it is a good film that you do need to experience if you're into classic rock. Pink Floyd The Wall Deluxe DVD Edition featuring new high-definition film transferred from the original screen into positive. I don't know what that means. Other Side of the Wall, a 25-minute documentary about the making of the film. Running commentary from Roger Waters and Gerald Scarfe. The story of The Wall is told simply through the music of Pink Floyd, images and natural effects. There is no conventional dialogue to progress the narrative. Our story is about Pink, a rock and roll performer who sits locked in a hotel room somewhere in Los Angeles. Too many shows, too much dope, and too much applause. A burned out case. On the TV, an all too familiar film flickers on screen. We shuffle time and place, reality and nightmare as we venture into Pink's painful memories. Each one a brick in the wall, where he is gradually built around his feelings. Slowly he withdraws from the real world and slips further into the nightmare, as he imagines himself as an unfeeling demigod. But yeah, the film is great. But moving on, the music's the best bit. So the album starts with the song In the Flesh. Now, this sort of begins with Where We Come In, with those really beautiful strings, because the album actually, it repeats itself, or you could put it on a loop where the closing track leads into the opening track, which is really cool. So the album ends with someone, I'm not sure who it is, saying, "Is this where?" And then that's just really cool. But so the album starts with In the Flesh, and then these sort of strings are just these light strings, and it just explodes. It just like boom, with these roaring guitars that sound phenomenal. And it's always been one of my favourite musical moments ever, just this grandeur of an opening track to really set the stage. And then the song, not In the Flesh, On Thin Ice, is absolutely amazing. And it sounds like, or it is where he's being born. It's the beginning of the story, and it's just absolutely brilliant. And then and then of course you have Another Brick in the Wall, one of the most famous prog rock songs of all time. But I never knew, until I picked up this album and started listening to Pink Floyd, I never knew that there were 3 parts to it. So Another Brick in the Wall Part 1 has a sort of almost whispered vocals. Daddy's flown across the nation. It's ocean, but leaving just a memory, with these beautiful jangly guitars. Absolutely amazing. And then The Happiest Days of Our Lives. When we grew up and went to school, there were certain teachers who could hurt children any way they could, which is amazing. And then that also leads into the most famous part, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. We don't need no education. Now originally, the children singing at the end weren't there. That was added in by their producer. And the school they use in the film, it's the same school that they recorded those children, which is great. And then the song Mother. Now, Mother is where Pink is asking his mother all these questions, Am I safe to do this? Is it okay to do that? The mother character in the story is this sort of overprotective helicopter mum who Pink feels the need to check in with all the time because he's never known anything else. You know, she controls everything about him. And that's why the song ends with "Mother didn't need to be so high," where he's referencing the wall that she's built around him. And if you watch the film, the cartoon is this sort of mum, the hands coming around him like a wall. It's beautiful. And then that starts with side two starts with "Goodbye Blue Sky," which has some really great lyrics. Especially you want to watch the music. Well, it's not a music video, but the bit from the film that uses the song is stunning. Like the imagery is amazing, and the way they talk about, you know, so this kid sees the airplanes in the sky, and then the lyrics about why are we suffering and dying for a brave new world? This doesn't make any sense. And they're obviously talking about Nazi Germany. I believe, you can fact check me if you want, but I believe Roger Waters lost his dad in the war or something like that. And that's why there are a lot of war themes mixed into this album and the final cut. Empty Spaces is stunning, but the movie version is a hell of a lot better. I forget what the movie version's called. Oh, no, that's gone. But look it up because it's so much better than Empty Spaces. And the reason why that song on the movie was cut from the album and replaced with that Empty Spaces was just the time constraint. Young Lust, which is a really heavy rocker, where he's a new boy in the town. He's looking for something, well, he's looking to get laid. He's looking to get some love. One of My Turns. So he's found his new girlfriend, and Pink takes her to his apartment, and then he has one of his bad turns and begins to. In the movie, he just sort of smashes the apartment about a bit, but in the song, it sounds like he's actually hitting her. But it is a beautiful song. I love the way it starts off really acoustic and light, but then it just sort of explodes as he turns. That's brilliant. Then Don't Leave Me Now. Pink is asking her, please don't leave. I'm so sorry I've done this. You know, it's not my fault. It's just one of my problems. Another Brick in the Wall Part 3, which again, he sort of flips again and starts trashing everything and burning all the bridges around him. I don't need no arms around me, and I don't need no drugs to calm me. I have seen the writing on the wall. Don't think I need anything at all. And it's the guitars on that track. The way they take the same riff from Part 2, but turn it up a few notches is brilliant. It's fantastic. And then side 2 ends with Goodbye Cruel World. Goodbye Cruel World, I'm leaving you. It's a really, really melodramatic, sad song about it's actually about just shutting yourself off from the world, just saying, fuck it, I can't do this anymore. You know, goodbye everyone. But it does sound like, what someone would say before committing suicide. I think that might have been intentional. I'm getting these out because I can't remember it, and my memory's bad. Ignore me. Hey You, which, weirdly enough, Hey You is not in the film. I think the scene was cut out, but Hey You is one of the greatest rock songs ever made. Hey you, out there in the cold, getting lonely, getting old, can you feel me? And I've said this before, but I haven't listened to Pink Floyd's The Wall in a good few days. But the songs are so good that they stay in your head. I don't know why I'm sat so far back, because the camera's a bit there. I love the lyrics, especially, where is it? Hey you, don't tell me there's no hope at all. Together we stand, divided we fall. Absolutely beautiful. And the guitar solo, David Gilmour's guitar solo is phenomenal. Is There Anybody Out There? A really beautiful song. Trying to speed up a bit. I've noticed how long the video. And Nobody Home, again, is amazing. Vera, Vera, what has become of you? Vera is an amazing song. It's beautiful. As I said, again, fact check me, but Roger Waters lost his dad to the war, I believe. And in the song, he's asking Vera, what happened? You said everybody was coming home. Vera Lynn sang the famous song, We'll Meet Again. beautiful. And Bring the Boys Back Home with this choir, End the War, Bring the Boys Back Home. And then the way that that song transitions, it sort of just slowly bleeds out into Comfortably Numb. Probably, is it the most famous Pink Floyd song? It may be. Maybe that or Wish You Were Here. And Comfortably Numb is one of the greatest songs ever made. First of all, most importantly, that guitar solo. And David Gilmour had that guitar solo in the bank. You know, that was one he'd written before, but he wasn't really going to release it or use it. And then it just fitted with the song. And obviously it made the song legendary. Absolute legendary song. And the lyrics, your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse. Out of the corner of my eye, I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child is gone. The dream is gone. I have become comfortably numb. Just stunning. One of the great songs ever written. Side 4. I'm not going to go over all of them because Show Must Go On is amazing. In the Flesh. Now, In the Flesh is where he's sort of become a fascist now. After being so turned off from the world, he's become this fascist and he's building walls around his own people and he's ostracizing other people. Where he references, you know, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it because that'll be clipped and it'll be used against me. But the language he uses in the song, you can look it up. It's to add effect. Roger Waters is not racist or anything. It's just the character Pink has become a racist and doesn't like these kind of people. But then Run Like Hell sort of continues that, and now he started rounding up all the people. You better run all day and run all night and keep your dirty feelings deep inside. And if you're taking your girlfriend out tonight, you better park the car well outside. Because if they catch you in the back seat trying to pick her locks, they're going to send you back to your mother in a cardboard box. You better run. And I'm waiting for the worms. Ooh, you cannot get me now. Just a beautiful song. The Trial. The Trial is where Pink is obviously put on trial and the judge is sort of shouting at him, "Shit on him, judge! Feelings of an almost human nature." It's brilliant. It's a rock opera sort of song, and it might not be for everyone, but I think it's fantastic. And I love all the different characters that come in, and the chorus on the song. Crazy over the rainbow, I am crazy. Boys in the shadow. Just a fantastic song. And then it all ends with Outside the Wall, which it's really beautiful, and I love the lyrics. All alone or in twos, the ones who really love you, walk up and down outside the wall, some hand in hand, and some gathered together in bands. The bleeding hearts and the artists make their stand, and when they've given you their all, some stagger and fall, for, after all, it's not easy, banging your heart against some mad bugger's wall. That is some brilliant writing, but Outside the Wall sounds a lot better on the movie. So in conclusion, this is a 10 out of 10. There is nothing wrong with this album at all, and I could go, this video could be an hour long with me talking about this. It's so good, but you know, I try to condense my videos down a bit because I can ramble on for England. Yeah, I'd love to know what you think of this album because it's been one of my favourites for years, and I can't relate to all the themes because obviously hitting children, especially in school, is illegal now, capital punishment. But, you know, themes of like depression and anxiety and being cheated on is one, because that hurts. That really hurts. It's such a brilliant album, so many different themes and styles to it that all come together to create this rock opera, this concept masterpiece. So let me know what you think of this album down below, and see what I got put up with, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone.